Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Coach's Corner, live here at Benchwarmers Restaurant and Delivery. I'm your host, Nate Mullins. I'm joined by my co-host, Greg the Wizard Kinn. We have a special guest joining us today, is Heidelberg head football coach, Scott Donaldson. How we doing, Coach?
Fantastic, brother. How are you?
Any better than I be you, brother?
You can dream. You can dream.
So, all right, man, let's talk some football. First of all, I got to ask about this facility, man. I mean, you guys are right across the street from this thing getting built, and I drive past it every once in a while, and I'm like, this thing is going up in record time.
Yes.
How excited are you?
It's unbelievable. I mean, just and you can when watching it going in real time, because obviously I go over there as much as humanly possible because it just makes me happy. And the great thing, like, we have live streams going on of the construction throughout the current facility, so you can see it go up in real time. And the funny thing, you see the renderings and everything that we've seen for years, and it's like, oh, this looks beautiful, this is great. Then all of a sudden you walk by, you're like, oh my God, this thing is huge.
It's massive.
And you can't comprehend it until you actually walk by and see it. So if you're in Tiffin, take a drive down Main Street. Look to your right after the dorms on your left there, and it is ungodly big. I love it. It
really stands out too in that neighborhood. Like, you're just a bunch of nice little houses. Here's a couple of dorm houses over here, and a bam.
Well, I think that's a cool thing about Heidelberg, you know, because it really is right in the middle of the neighborhood, and it's. Most of the rest of the campus is kind of incognito. Most of the buildings, it's kind of tucked back, but this one is not.
Yeah, not at all.
Not at all.
Someone smacks you in the face as you're coming down Main.
Exactly. And the beautiful thing, too, it connects all of our athletic facilities.
I noticed that. When you look at it from overhead, from a map, it's like the baseball field. It's so cool.
Yeah, and we're, the baseball and the soccer
fields,
and softball is they're not off campus, but they're a little bit of ways away, and this really makes a direct line of connection to everything. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing.
Absolutely. I am excited for it, just for the fact that, it's going to be open to the public, right?
Yes.
Walk around inside there, get your walking laps in.
Yep, exactly. Obviously certain areas will be, for practice times and things like that, but and that's obviously Heidelberg is embedded in the Tiffin community.
Yes.
And even our facility right now, Sour Wine, is open to the public with a Y membership, so it's just going to improve on those relations, and obviously athletically it's got everything you could ask for. The new weight room, the turf, the track, all the basketball courts, all the pickleball courts, which I've gotten into, although my son Connor beat me in the summer. I was not happy.
Hey, man, that is the rage with kids right now, man. All of them are loving it.
You know what? And they're playing it in gym.
Yeah.
And actually, me and Coach Lewis got invited over for gym class one day, and junior high. And Coach Lewis is extremely good.
Yeah,
is extremely good. Yes,
okay.
He is an unbelievable pickleball player.
He's nimble, man. He can catch you off guard with how athletic he is.
Sneaky athletic.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's a gigantic human being. And we did not hold back. It was like the Peyton Manning SNL skit where we are just smashing the ball into these little kids. Did not care. I think only one team scored a point on us.
Jeez. So this facility, though, that's a selling point for you in recruiting, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Obviously.
Absolutely.
That's something that you guys didn't have. A lot of schools in the OAC have one of those, right?
They, most of the schools have an indoor track facility. What most schools don't have, I really don't think any school has a full, in OAC, a full width indoor football field.
That's going to be neat.
That is unbelievable with real turf, and we could we wouldn't practice there in the fall. Obviously, it's only 50 yards, so we have a big team. But in the spring, and the biggest thing is places for our guys to train.
Yeah.
And our receivers can run real routes and really open up their stride, and so I think this is gonna be obviously amazing for our off-season workouts.
Yeah.
But it's a place to hang out.
For sure.
And that's something Heidelberg really doesn't have right now, I'll be honest. We have, one gym, and obviously it's used, 24 hours a day. We have 23 sports. But it's a place for the guys to go at night. They want to shoot some hoops. They want to play some pickleball. They just want to sit there and BS. I think it's just an open area inside for the guys to do that in the winter.
For sure. It's exciting, man. I get to watch that thing kind of take shape, and you get a front row seat for it, man. Every day, getting to watch that take shape, that's got to be exciting. So I do have to remind our listeners, the Coach's Corner is presented by our friends at Xcaret Mexican Restaurant, Your Legacy Federal Credit Union, Drawn to the Surface Tattoo and Piercing Studio, as well as our friends here at Benchwarmers. Now, Coach, 21 years now.
Yeah.
21. This is year 21. Now, you've been the head coach since 2016. Now, talk about just how the program has changed and kind of evolved during your tenure.
In my 21 years?
Yeah.
That's.
we don't have to go through the whole ride, but like from the time you started to now, just talk about some of the differences.
Well, number one, I think Heidelberg's it's kept the same character, kept the same personality, but the school has gone through unbelievable amounts of change. And not just, and obviously we've talked about facilities and the continuing change of that, but building a stadium. There's 3 new academic buildings, 2 new dorms since I've been here. Excuse me. But I think, obviously after my first 3 years, being 0-30, Mike Hallett coming in and really changing the culture, changing the expectations of Heidelberg, and we've been able to really keep that going for 18 years now. We might not win every game. Obviously, we lost last week, but we expect to win every game.
Yeah,
and that wasn't here 20 years ago. It wasn't.
There's a standard now.
Yes. There's a standard. There's an expectation to live up to and to recruit to.
Yeah.
Our recruits need to understand what this program's about. And I think, luckily, myself and the core of our coaching staff has been together and been here for so long that our kids know exactly what to expect every single day, and it's a culture of championship, whatever the hell you do. So
yeah.
I think that's the biggest change on as far as the program goes, is the expectations, the culture, and that takes a long time to build, bud. That takes a long time to build, and it's not something you build and it's done. It's you build and you have to nurture it every single day, but luckily we have an amazing coaching staff and support staff at Heidelberg that we've been able to do that.
Yeah, and we'll talk about your staff here in just a little bit, but I want to talk about just some of your philosophies as a coach. Now, obviously, academics are very important to you, right? Mm-hmm. And so how do you balance the demands of being a football coach and wanting these guys to succeed on the field, but also holding them accountable academically? Well,
I think you're talking about the difference between a goal and a mission. These are two very different things.
That's a great way to put it.
I actually had this conversation with Coach Lutz over the summer, and I love the way he put it. Yes, our goals are to win the OAC, to make the national playoffs, and win a national championship. And those are always going to be our goals because you need to strive for that type of greatness on the field. Our mission, that's to graduate great men. Okay, to make sure these young men are getting out of Heidelberg with a degree, with that amazing private liberal arts degree. But more importantly, by then they're ready to be actual men.
Yeah.
Adults.
Huge.
Professionals, citizens, husbands, fathers. And knowing that that's a hell of a lot more important than how many games you won in college.
It's true.
And don't get me wrong, winning is still very important. I'm a college football coach. You've met my kids. They like to keep eating. I'd like to keep my job.
Right.
And winning's always going to, and striving for that is a lesson in and of itself. But I will never sacrifice the mission for any goals. All right, the mission is to get these kids out of here with a degree, to be able to start their lives ready to be adults.
Now, obviously, you've got some goals for these players. You've had a lot of successful players come through your program, several All-Americans, countless All-OAC players. Now, you've seen them, some of them go on to even become coaches themselves. What's your coaching philosophy when it comes to this player development?
Well, I guess you want to go to an overall philosophy. It's athletes first, winning second. We kind of already talked about that. I think if you go through our program for 4 years, and I don't care whether you play a lot or not. It doesn't matter. You are ready to be a college football coach.
Yeah.
Because we are very transparent in our decision making. We are very player involved and player led, where you're ready to coach the position you play right out of college. You're absolutely ready.
Well, look at Tyler Turek. That's a great example. There's a lot of guys around in this area that come from your coaching tree.
Well, actually, a side note, my son played JV last week, and they were playing Huron. And Columbian had 4 of my ex-players coaching for him. Huron had 2. Just coaching JV. And I think that makes me more proud, than whatever else might happen on the football field. That we have given these young men such a good experience through football that they want to give that experience to the next generation.
For sure.
And whether that's high school JV, high school varsity, college, NFL, and we have everything in that realm, that's very special to me.
For sure. You can tell. You can tell that it means a lot to you, just in the way that you talk about your program. Now, talk about just the 2020 season was weird, man. And we've talked about it a few times on the program. But what are some of the lasting impacts that's had? I mean, are we done seeing the effects of it? Are we still?
No.
We still have, 3 more years where kids could still have some eligibility things?
Okay. In that realm, yes, this is the last year of
That's
the
what I
true
thought.
COVID year. Now, we might, I guess if a kid got a red shirt, a medical red shirt, they could. Now, Division I has its own rules, and you're going to see 9th-year quarterbacks and 47-year-olds running out there in Division I football. But Division III is very different. It's a lot more stringent when it comes to that. So this is the last year of the true COVID year. So the fifth-year seniors I have now, and we have quite a bit, that they came in right during 2020.
Yep.
And so that first year was so wild for them. And the thing is, we're not seeing I don't think we're going to see the end of it for a few more years as far as, I don't know what you want to call it. It's a very different kind of attitude going into it. It's just different. And I don't, for lack of a better term, and this is probably not right at all, but it is kind of PTSD with that, and guys feeling, and it's just very, very different. And I think we're going to still see that for about 3 or 4 more years till we get the kids that were probably in 5th and 6th grade during 2020 that had a full high school, junior high experience that didn't have to go through that then. So,
that's development stunting for some of those guys.
It is very much so.
It's almost like some of them even took a year and a half off.
Yeah.
And you think about it.
And it's not just the football side. It's more socially and academically.
Yeah.
And
you're
talking about from very key, your 7th, 8th, 9th grade years. These are when you develop your high school habits and your study habits, your how to take, you know what I mean? And some of these kids are a little bit stunted when they get to college and they're not used to the academic rigor and how to handle themselves in those situations. So it's something, obviously, as coaches, we've had to very much deal with on the football side and an academic side, and teaching these kids how to be college students.
Yeah.
College professors aren't going to change.
No,
they are who they are. And you got to be able to adjust to that. That's not an easy for anyone, but especially the kids that went through high school during COVID.
Yeah, it's just a different time. And like you said, we still have a couple more years until we see that kind of pass.
So. I really do think so.
So, all right, let's talk about special teams, Coach, because I think that's one area that you have kind of emphasized during your time here. What makes an effective special teams unit in your mind?
There's a lot of things, but the things we talk about, number one, are getting great practice reps. And, you have to treat special teams like your actual position. Whether you're the L5 on kickoff, you have to study film. Just like that L5 might be the third string safety or the backup safety, whatever, but he's got to study that opponent's kickoff team to know where he fits in. And it's also getting quality practice reps. And that's something we actually had a great practice today, especially with our special teams. And it was because our scout teams did exactly what they should have done, and they did it as hard as they possibly could.
Nice.
Because getting quality reps for special teams, especially when you're talking kickoff and kickoff return, is a fist fight.
Yeah?
It's a fist fight because you're telling these guys, all right, hey, you guys got to take, 7, 8, 50-yard sprints. It's not easy, and to get guys bought into that is very tough, but you need it, and we had it today. Knock on wood, that happens tomorrow and Thursday, because it's a constant fight, but that's what you need. But, you know, as far as special teams, you have to make sure the kids understand how important it is.
For sure.
All right, and that's honestly one of the reasons I run all the special teams, and not that I'm a guru or an amazing coach by any means, but I do have the head coach title. And when you're getting kids bought in, it's a lot easier for me to get bought in than someone else.
Right.
Just on the fact that, all right, the head coach is coaching me on this. And it also gives me the opportunity to coach everyone, because I still coach the linebackers, so be able to coach the receivers and running backs and things like that. But the kids need to understand how important it is.
Yeah.
All right. And that's why
Absolutely.
we have every day we have film sessions of just the special teams, and we have a scouting report just of special teams, and making sure they're prepared to be successful.
For sure. So, all right, let's talk about the role you guys play in the Tiffin community. You talked about that just a little bit ago. How do you guys maintain your ties with Tiffin? Obviously, you just had alumni weekend this past weekend.
Yeah.
Now, you've got some connections with Tiffin youth football.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to
Yeah,
ask. Did you guys have some kind of camp or something going on, or something happened this past week?
Oh,
right,
yeah,
with
last week, the Kenny Stahl asked us to come down,
Yeah.
and it brought, I think 14 guys down there, and we had a half hour of just a mini clinic.
That's so
cool.
cool.
And
You have no, I mean, you obviously know, but like people out there watching, you have no idea how much it means to those kids to get to work with these big burly guys. I mean, their eyes would light up. They'd talk about it for weeks after those guys would work with them.
anything that we did involving Heidelberg, man, they were just
They love it.
smiles ear to ear.
Yeah, and obviously I understand that, because me and you were involved when you were coaching, and my son played in that league, so I've been involved with that. But it's amazing to see when you take, because most of those kids we brought down were freshmen, so the younger guys.
That's really cool.
We actually brought 2 freshmen that are from Tiffin that played in the league, but honestly, the rest of them were either from outside of Ohio or Toledo, but most of them were Florida and Georgia guys. And to see that connection with it, and see the kids' face light up when you're coaching them and just hanging out with them, that's what is selfishly so exciting to see that, and not just the kids. And trust me, I probably got more Facebook messages and texts about our guys going down to that camp, to that Little League, than I do after we win a game. It's so many parents in the community reached out, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. But even as far as just all of Tiffin goes, obviously there's opportunities, whether that's community service opportunities and getting our guys out. But the biggest thing is just recruiting great young men that have to understand that we are not separate from Tiffin as a community. We are in Tiffin community, and we have to not only act accordingly and do that, but we have to give back as much as humanly possible. All right.
And you've done such a great job of that during your tenure, but Mike Hallett really kind of helped lay the foundation for that during his time. I mean, kind of bringing the community in, getting everybody to embrace the program and the university as a whole. Because I'll be honest, when I first started working in media, there really wasn't, I'm not going to say there wasn't a relationship, but it just kind of seemed like there just needed to be more emphasis on bringing people together. And that's what it's been over these last 12, 13 years. You've seen more of an emphasis put on let's bring this community here and let's show them what we have to offer. Because, I mean, I may be a little biased, but I think that facility you guys have is one of the most unique, one of the most beautiful facilities to watch college football or any kind of football. Yeah. I mean, when you guys have a high school football game down there, it's just one of the most unique settings you'll ever have for high school football.
It's you know what, they built the stadium. What was it? 2015?
Yeah,
I don't know. I've been at it for too long.
Somewhere around in there.
Been a while.
But that really did. The funny thing is, obviously we played downtown where Tiffin University and both high schools play. But when we brought the games to campus, that actually brought the community out more. And
that's crazy to think.
It's really funny to think, but having our own facility obviously brought the students there and everything like that. But and I'll be honest, obviously winning helps.
Yeah, for sure.
Winning does help. All right, but and that's obviously also helped our local recruitment
for sure,
and getting young men to stay in Tiffin. All right.
You've had quite a few of those lately.
Oh, God, absolutely.
A lot of guys that are local guys that are local stars coming to Heidelberg to make a name for themselves there.
Amazingly important to me. That's, I have a very small recruiting area as head coach. I have Seneca County.
Yeah.
Because I'll be damn sure I need to win in my backyard. All right. And you have no idea how angry I get when a young man chooses to go to one of my competitors that's in my backyard. And it happens. I get it. And trust me, staying in Tiffin is not for everyone. I completely understand. But, man, I get angry. Not at the young man, just at everything.
Right? At the world.
Yes, very much so.
All right, folks, we're going to step aside, take a quick time out. We'll be back. We got to pay some bills, though, folks. We're live here at Benchwarmers Restaurant and Delivery with the Coach's Corner. I'm hanging out with Scott Donaldson, head coach of the Heidelberg football team. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Heart of Ohio Sports.
At Heart of Ohio Sports, it's obvious. The first thing that comes to mind is sports. But we do a lot more than just cover live sporting events.
Go, go, go!
When we want to watch our highlights from last night's game, there's only one place we go. Heart of Ohio Sports. We connect fans to the action like no one else can. As a business in today's market, you got to stay ahead of the game. And what better way than to get on board with the fastest growing brand in media today? I mean, you can take it from me, but you can just listen to them. When recruiters want to see our game film, we tell them they can watch on Heart of Ohio Sports.
Welcome to your Legacy Federal Credit Union, your trusted community credit union for over 70 years. We're not just a credit union, we're your personal financial counselor. Your Legacy Federal Credit Union is a full-service financial institution tailoring solutions to your needs. Whether it's your first home or planning for the future, we're here to help you find success. Your Legacy Federal Credit Union, a legacy built on trust, commitment, and community.
Your legacy, your legacy.
Heart of Ohio Sports gives fans the access they want when they want it. And the athletes get the coverage they deserve. Our broadcasts are free, and they always will be. We don't hide behind a paywall. When my family can't come to the games, they always watch on Heart of Ohio Sports. Heart of Ohio Sports is owned by Mullins Entertainment and located inside Studio Squared in downtown Tiffin. The space features a state-of-the-art podcast studio, open for public use. Building a platform for creators is one of our top priorities.
Stop down to Benchwarmers in Tiffin or call it in for delivery. Fresh cut fries, locally sourced ingredients, and phenomenal service. Give the Tiffin store a call at 567-268-9268 and place your delivery order now. Benchwarmers Restaurant and Delivery. You're locked into the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Heart of Ohio Sports. Welcome back to the Coach's Corner, live here at Benchwarmers Restaurant and Delivery. Nate Mullins here with the Wizard, Greg Kinn. Of course, the Coach's Corner brought to you by your friends at Xcaret Mexican Restaurant, your Legacy Federal Credit Union, Drawn to the Surface Tattoo and Piercing Studio, and our friends here at Benchwarmers Restaurant and Delivery. Once again, I'm sitting here with my buddy, Coach Scott Donaldson of the Heidelberg football team. And, Coach, let's talk a little bit more about your staff and kind of leading into these preparations for this upcoming game. You got some new faces on the staff this year. And, I mean, you've kind of always been somebody to give opportunities to people on your staff. I mean, you want new faces, you want new ideas. How important is it to give back and mentor young coaches as you were once mentored.
Oh, absolutely. And getting it because you talk about the levels of coaching. You have your GAs and your interns. That's here down there. All right, and then you get into your full time, and then your coordinators, and then your head coach. So. The goal is to make sure, however long they're with us, it might be 2 years, 3, 5, 1, you want them to make sure they're ready for the next step.
Yeah.
All right. And I think when you have a solid program like ours, people want that experience of our guys coaching for them. So it's funny. I've had 3 quarterback coaches in 3 years.
Yeah.
All right. But it's because one is a Division I quarterback coach, one is a high school head football coach, the other is a Division II offensive coordinator. We hire great people, but that also means other people want great people.
That's true. That's the downfall of hiring such talented people for these positions.
Exactly.
They're going to get snatched away.
Exactly. All right. But we have some amazing new faces on our staff, and I love getting that outside influence, because the last thing I want to do as a program, and obviously me being at Heidelberg for 21 years and the only place I've ever really coached, is getting stagnant and doing the same thing over and over again. And that, times change. We have to change with it.
For sure.
So the only way, and I'm not a smart human being, all right, you both know that. So getting these outside voice, hiring people much smarter than me, all right, is the key.
That's
all
right.
It's
a consistent theme with head coaches that they want people smarter than them around them.
Oh, my God.
Got to lean on those guys, right?
I got 9 of them. I mean, I'm the best looking. There's absolutely no question about that. I'm the best-looking man on the staff.
No doubt about that.
I'm not the strongest, all right, but there's one
You
stronger
got to concede
than me.
to one guy.
Jamar Lewis. Oh, my God. This human being, he is a...
Not Jason, no, Jamar.
Jason's stronger. Don't. All right.
I thought that's who was going to be stronger than you.
No. Jamar, I mean, I've seen him bench 525 pounds before. And not.
That's why he's so yoked up top.
One.
I mean, he walks into a bar, he's got to walk in sideways.
He does. And don't get me wrong, it helps that he was 5'8" in the program, but he about 5'6".
He's a cannonball, though, man.
He's no. Like I said, being able to keep, our coordinators, Jason Lewis is offensive coordinator, Brandon Jacobson is defense coordinator, and Jamar Lewis is our co-offensive and recruiting coordinator. Being able to keep them as long is probably the biggest reason for our success.
For sure.
Okay, or our at least consistency over the last 9-10 years. Because we know what to expect from each other. Our players know what to expect from us.
Yeah.
And but also getting that new blood in and getting some, and that's what we've been able to do.
For sure. And I've seen it over the years. You've given a lot of different people opportunities to kind of take that next step after their development here with you guys. Yeah. So talk about development. Talk about some of the younger players on your team. If they're looking to make an impact, if you're a high school kid right now, what advice are you giving a high school kid that's trying to make that transition to college football next year?
Well, it obviously there is a physical difference.
Okay.
I mean, you're an 18-year-old freshman, and you're competing against 22 and 23-year-old men.
Yeah, quite a bit.
These guys have had 3 and 4 college off seasons in there under their belt, So any program, I don't care, Division I, Division III, and 10-win teams and no-win teams, it is very difficult for a freshman to get on the field. And I am very honest in recruiting that I am not recruiting you for what you can do for me next year. I'm recruiting you for how good you're going to be in 4 years.
That's right.
Okay. Now, do freshmen play? 100%. Mm-hmm. If they're the best for that situation, and we trust them. But just last week, I mean, we had, probably, I think it was called 7 freshmen get on the field, and 3 of them were offensive. And that, there is necessity, but there's also sometimes you just bring in a kid that's ready physically and mentally. He gets it, and those are the kids that get on the field, Everyone's ready at a very different time in their life. I wasn't ready to really play probably to my senior year.
Yeah.
All right. Junior year, I got into some special teams. Senior year, I started on defense. Everyone's ready at a different time.
For sure.
All right. And obviously, that's on us coaches. All right. Now, every young man doesn't agree with that decision. But, you know, you can only put out there 11 and any given play. I've tried to put out more. It doesn't work.
Yeah. That yellow laundry ends up coming out somewhere.
You know, but, you know, and that's why it's so important for the kids to understand the development aspect of college football.
For sure. Now, talk about some of the younger players on your staff. Anybody that's kind of surprised you this year? Maybe their development kind of came along a little faster than what you were expecting.
You know, a guy that came in as our 6th offensive line. One of our guards got banged up in the second quarter there, and freshman from Boca down in Florida came in and did a phenomenal job.
From Boca. Go figure.
Yep, from Boca. You know, and, you know, another freshman, a kid from up in Toledo from Rossford got in also and did a great job. A young man from Cary, Austin Niedercore.
There's a familiar name.
No, that kid is a killer.
He's a monster.
But, you know, he got in on special teams all game and did a phenomenal job to the point of he actually took some people's jobs. And that's what you get, opportunities.
Yeah.
What you do with that opportunity is up to you.
That's the key.
All right?
I keep trying to tell my son that all the time. Like, hey, when you're given an opportunity, it's up to you what you do with it.
Exactly. You know, are you mentally ready to take that opportunity? Are you physically ready? And can you go out and perform under the lights with 5,000 people watching you? And not everyone can do it.
Yeah.
All right. And especially 18-year-olds. All right. And especially freshmen, because it is a scary thing. Because
that's tough.
Not only are you going against, all of a sudden you're in the huddle, and there's 5 fifth-year seniors staring at you.
Unless your name's Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah. Obviously, you know, you have those athletic
There are
freak
exceptions.
shows. There are absolute exceptions. You know, those athletic absolute freak shows that sometimes we get also. You know, Montavious Yerby was a 5-year starter.
Yeah.
Zach Blackiston was a 5-year starter. Drew Sims was a 4-year starter. So that happens every year. But let's be honest, it is more the exception, not the rule.
For sure. Absolutely. So I'll talk about it briefly, and then we'll move on to the next opponent. Tough loss to Ohio Northern last week. Bendo Bowl did not go the way you wanted it to. Yeah. So how are we bouncing back this week?
The biggest thing is staying consistent. You know, and you know, we obviously had a coaches meeting on Sunday, and talking to the coaches that, especially the younger guys, that it's not a time to panic. It's a time to reinforce our principles, reinforce our effort, our enthusiasm, our focus, and you can't do that by losing yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that, you know, when you're panicked, the kids panic even worse. Okay. So it's more about, all right, let's get back to basics.
Yeah.
All right. And that's the thing. Ohio Northern was a very good football team, and their running backs were ungodly good. But we didn't lose the game because we were out-schemed or out-athleted. We lost the game because we did not tackle well. And that's as simple as it gets. So, yeah, it's getting back to the basics of tackling and doing that. So, but, yeah, I believe that's the only way to really bounce back, you know, because if you try to do something new, something different, you know, kids understand. These kids ain't stupid.
Yeah, you're too far in now.
You know, they know what to expect. And if all of a sudden I change because I'm panicking because we lost to a team we haven't lost to in a while, well, then you can just kiss the season goodbye.
Yeah. So, John Carroll sitting there at 0-2 after having faced 2 of the top 4 teams in the country in Division III in Wisconsin Whitewater and Mount Union. Now, they gave Mount a run last week.
They did.
And, they played very well. They're coming home. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a tough environment for you guys. Now, what do you think the strengths are of this team? Is obviously, after that 0-2 start, it's kind of hard playing against such tough competition, but what do you think the strengths of this John Carroll team is?
Well, I think they're just – they don't have a weakness.
Okay.
You know, there's what I'm saying. There's no glaring weakness that, hey, we need to attack this corner or this defensive end. Everyone's very good.
Yeah.
Everyone they put out there are very good at every position, and they have the depth to be able to rotate guys through to keep them fresh. And, you know, if there's an 0-2 that should have an on it is John Carroll right now.
Right.
I mean, legitimately 2 of the best teams in the country.
I don't know anybody who's had a tougher schedule first 2 games.
No one. And that's, and they're a very good football team. They're extremely well coached. They're very disciplined. And, we can't make mistakes against those type of teams. You can't turn over the ball. You can't miss tackles. You can't have missed assignments like we had last week, or it can get ugly. So, but we also have a very good football team.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's coming off of a game that we did not play well.
Are you guys prepared for the possibility? Do you think they're going to come in with a chip on their shoulder and play at a higher level than they normally even play at after going 0-2?
I wouldn't think so. I think their coaches are such experienced, good coaches that they're, I don't think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. I think that chip's always there.
Yeah,
and that's what you get out of good football teams. That chip is always there. And this is an OAC football game. This is the last time Heidelberg and John Carroll are going against each other in the OAC, all right, because they're leaving our conference.
That's crazy. It's still crazy to think. Yeah.
So, I don't think there's going to be an extra chip. That chip's always there. Like it's on every team. Every good football team has that chip that, we're going to try to smack you, So, but, yeah, like I said, they're a very good football team.
For sure.
So.
Yeah, they always are.
Yeah,
every year.
Absolutely.
I mean, they give everybody a run for their money. Now, you guys have been pretty solid on offense this year. Obviously, last week gave up a little bit more points than what you wanted to on defense. But now, is there anything that you're kind of working on offensively going into this road game? Is there anything that you're kind of focused on?
Again, it goes back to fundamentals.
Okay.
And if just like on defense, you can't tackle, you can't win. On offense, if you can't block, you can't win.
Yeah.
So it's about reinforcing those fundamentals of, getting a body on a body, being physical up front, all right, and taking our shots when those show up, when they need to be taken. But the biggest thing is just not getting into situations where we're behind the sticks.
Yeah.
We have to stay on schedule. And that's something I think on our scoring drives especially we were able to do is stay on schedule. Stay away from 3rd and 9, 3rd and 12, being, getting into that 2nd and 6, okay, 3rd and 2. That is, what you want as an offense. And once you get into 1st and 15 or 1st and 12 or 2nd and 12, now you're behind the sticks and the panic ensues about trying to get up there. So
right.
Again, it's more about reinforcing. We're not going to reinvent the wheel. All right, Coach Lewis is an amazing offensive coordinator. But he's not Vince Lombardi. He's not going to invent a brand new play. Okay, all right, or whoever the hell invented the forward pass, I don't even know. All right, it's just about staying on schedule, preaching the fundamentals, okay, and playing as fast as we possibly can.
So JCU, I mean, no team wants to go 0-3 to start the season, obviously. Yeah. But they got a big chip on their shoulder. You talked about that. It's always there, but you talked about offensively tempo. How important is tempo for you guys? Like, do you want to set the tempo of this game, kind of keep their offense off the field? Is that the goal this week?
The goal is always to score.
Yes.
whatever the best way we can do that is what works.
Points on the board more than them.
That would be fantastic. And I think that's one thing I love. Coach Lewis and the offensive staff do a great job of using tempo to their advantage, and that doesn't mean going hyperspeed at all times, but that means keeping the defense on their heels and what they can call, because they don't know if you're lining up and running a play, lining up running look offense or huddling, and being able to switch those tempos does keep the defensive coordinators and the players a little bit on their heels.
Right.
And I think he's got a great knack for that. And our drives, our longer drives last week, we were really able to utilize that tempo to our advantage.
For sure. Tough environment. They're at home. What are some of the things that you like to do to kind of prepare your team mentally for playing on the road in a tough environment?
It's our guys are used to it, just because we've had 2 very packed home games.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
And last week was insane.
I'll talk to you. I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
So I think they're used to that chaos, the chaos aspect. All
yes.
right. And we hopefully there's a great crowd there. I think that's actually brings the intensity of the game to the players. up, when there's a great visiting crowd, when they're in the end zones or in the stands, screaming at you. I think that actually it makes it such more of an experience that you want to be in. I'll be very honest, we don't get that everywhere we go.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes I do kind of hate going to road games because it's dead quiet. And, we're not used to that because all of our home games, our students are wild, the stands are completely packed, and it's a raucous atmosphere. Not every team in our conference has that, to be straight up honest with you.
It's hard to find the energy when there's no energy there when you get there.
I was just about to say, where do you draw from?
But that's why I do like to travel as many human beings as possible. The only person that has their own seat on the bus is me. All right, and Coach Lewis, for very different reasons. All right, but being able, I want, number one, people to experience that, but sometimes we need to bring the energy.
Yeah.
And whether even if guys aren't playing, but they've had a great week of practice, or they're high energy, rah guys, fire starters, they'll get on the bus because we need that on the sideline.
For sure. It's kind of like bringing in a mega horn with you to the game.
It is a little bit,
It sounds to me like you guys need a second bus.
What?
Yeah, right.
You bring
Maybe third. Yeah, third.
third.
I wish, trust me.
Talk about that Thursday night game. That's what I was going to I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but that Thursday night game. How unique was that? How cool was that?
I thought it was a blast. And Hiram's head coach, who was actually a good friend of mine, we played against each other in college, funnily, or randomly, but he brought it up when we went out there for the first week. Hey, what do you think about playing on a Thursday? And I'm like, I don't know. That'll screw up the schedule. But I'm thinking it's week 1. There's no schedule yet. Now our kids are in a schedule where breaking that schedule is really tough.
Yeah.
But week 1, who cares? Kids don't know any better. So, and then we did it, and we went out there, and it was awesome. It was awesome.
That's cool.
And I loved it. And what I really loved about it is everyone was watching. There's only a handful of other college football games going on, so our live stream numbers were triple what they usually are because we were the only show.
It's kind of like when we broadcast the Calvert Mohawk game on Thursday night.
Yeah.
It's like we had 40,000 plays on that video alone.
People just craving football on a
Yeah,
Thursday night.
especially week 1.
Oh, yeah.
Especially week 1.
Yes.
So I'd like to keep it going. Hopefully
Yeah.
Jack does over at Hiram, and we have them for 2 more years on the schedule. So I'd like to keep it going. So the only downside is that we do have a week 2 bye, which sucks. I'm just saying it. All right. And now all of a sudden you have 17 days before your next game. And that can get, a little bit tiresome because now you just have 17 days where.
Who decided that you guys get a week 2 bye? That's a terrible time to have a bye.
It is, but it's beneficial. The OAC has always done it to give us 2 weeks to find a non-conference game.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, it is very difficult to find a non-conference game. And if you just have one slot, hey, I need a week 1, you could get, kind of left in the lurch. So they give us 2 weeks there. What we usually do is move up a game, and talk to a coach in the OAC, hey, let's move our game up to week 2 so we get a week 5 or week 6 bye. It just didn't work this year.
Yeah.
So maybe next year, we'll see.
So talk briefly about the leaders on this team. Can you kind of give the viewers just a little bit of perspective on who's kind of leading the charge with this team this year?
Yeah, number one, our 2 defensive captains who have been captains for 2 years now. Joe Norris, who is a do-everything corner, slot, nickelback, punt returner. He is everything, and he's great at everything. And Easton St. Clair, our outside linebacker, this will be his 5th year starting. He is the same thing everywhere. He plays outside, plays safety, plays inside, plays D-line some games. He does everything. And both those guys are really very good vocal leaders. And obviously to be a leader, you have to lead by example. That just goes with the title. But they're very good, and they're not afraid to tell you, hey, you're not doing the right things. All right, you want to still be here. You want to be in this family. You gotta fix it. All right. Offensively, Aiden Helton's a first-year captain and really done a great job with the offense. Obviously, at practice, guys, we're split. Defense on one side, offense is on the other, and when we're together, we're beating the crap out of each other. So it's the way it works. And he's done a great job. But those are our three captains. But it's not just them. Right. I mean, you don't have to be a captain to be a leader, and you're getting a lot of guys starting to step up. And Keyshawn Cunningham's done a great job. Kingston Mobata, who helped out with Columbian this summer as an internship, and he's been at the games. The kids love him. Half the Columbian JV football team was at our game Thursday just to watch him. I love it.
That's cool.
But guys like Ethan Chaliwa and Drew Miller and Lance Rickle, and these guys have been great leaders for us, and some of them are sophomores, and you don't have to be a senior or a captain to be a leader. It's about trusting yourself and having the confidence to be able to project that to the rest of the team.
That's so huge. It is really hard to find that, though.
Oh, it is.
It's so hard to find that, and sometimes you got to bring it out of guys.
Sometimes,
or sometimes they're not that guy when they first get there.
No,
and then by the time they get to their fourth or fifth year, it's like, where was this guy? Where?
Well, to be honest, as a freshman, you're not expecting that from any freshman.
For sure.
Telling a 22-year-old what to do wouldn't end well. All right. But again, it's about projecting the right energy, the right vibe, whatever you want to call it, of that. Yeah, I'm doing the right things, and I'm confident enough to show that. But obviously, we have some leadership building, within our program and things like that, and just telling those leaders how to lead the right way. Yeah. All right. But I think it's something that you have to be confident. You have to have enough self-esteem to be able to do that stuff. And it's not everyone. You know what I mean? And leadership is a learned skill, but there is something inherent about it also.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Coach, what message you got for the Heidelberg fans if they're traveling to support the team this Saturday, or if you're watching the stream?
Yeah, no, you're going to see a much improved football team. You're going to see a team focusing on the fundamentals and, hopefully a better tackling football team. All right. But like I say, you're going to see two things every single week when you watch Heidelberg football play. We're going to play harder than everyone else we play. I don't care who it is, and we're going to have more dang fun than any team we play. All right, and those are the two things I want to see on Saturday. All right, so hopefully you can watch it and get out when we're back at home next, which I have no idea when that is.
It's got to be a while from now then, huh?
I literally don't.
One game at a time, right? That's how coaches go. We're going 1-0 this week. That's all I know.
I'll ask Saturday night, hey, who are we playing next week? Worry about it then.
All right, Coach. Well, hey, once again, I appreciate your time, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
As always.
Thank you, bro.
Once again, a great time here with Coach Scott Donaldson of the Heidelberg football team. We're here at Benchwarmers Restaurant and Delivery every Tuesday night at 6:30 for the Coach's Corner. Once again, brought to you by our friends at Your Legacy Federal Credit Union, Xcaret Mexican Restaurant, Drawn to the Surface Tattoo and Piercing Studio, as well as our friends here at Benchwarmers Restaurant and Delivery. For Greg Kinn, I'm Nate Mullins, signing off. Have a great night, everybody. You've been watching Heart of Ohio Sports.
My Berea, don't you know I've thought about you all day? Yeah, I've been longing for some beef and some consomme, sweet Berea. This is surely going to my thighs. Well, I'm a hungry eater and you surely caught my eyes. My Berea, I love you so. Oh, my Berea, Berea, I love you so. I love you. How's it going, sports fans? It's game day, and the food is hot here at Xcaret Mexican Restaurant. Before you settle in to watch the game, whether you're by yourself trying to figure out what you want for dinner, trying to figure out how to feed a bunch of people, why not consider some delicious grub from Xcaret Mexican Restaurant? We're hot birria. That's right. I'll say it again. Birria ramen. Oh my goodness. I think I just got my mic wet. How do you birria? I have to have a lime. And you're going to get the best, juiciest limes right here at Xcaret Mexican Restaurant. Look at all that juice. So here we have
The birria ramen. Oh, this looks so good. I'm digging in. I can't look at it anymore. All right, here we go. That should not be allowed to be that good. My goodness. Folks, get on over here. Get yourself some of this birria ramen. Let them know you heard about it on Heart of Ohio Sports. Why are you still watching me eat? You could be eating this right now. Don't you just want to dig in? I could eat this whole bowl right now. And I'm going to. But I'm not going to make you watch me do it. Tell you what. Call in your order. Xcaret Mexican Restaurant. Birria Ramen. The only place you're going to find this in town, folks. I'm telling you. This is a home run right here. Get it. Get it. Get it. Get it. Xcaret Mexican Restaurant. Whether you're a diehard fan rooting for the home team, or you're just looking for some tasty eats for your game day treats, the birria ramen is our featured item here on this game day grub segment, and you're going to want to call in your order now. That's right, call Xcaret Mexican Restaurant. Mention you saw this segment on our broadcast. You'll get 15% off your order. Take advantage of this birria ramen special at Xcaret Mexican Restaurant. Oh, and don't forget the queso.